Hello, and welcome back to the only place where we don't just read the headlines, we deconstruct the very soul of the story. Welcome to Mr. Magazine. Today, we are stepping into a narrative that is somewhat ghostly. We're going to discuss a heartbreak that millions of you claim to have felt, a separation that dominated social media feeds, and a romance that was scrutinized frame by frame. We are talking about Cenk Torun and Mahassine Merabet. But here is the twist that no one wants to admit. We are going to talk about how a global audience mourned the end of a relationship that, in the strict realm of facts, may never have begun. Before we unravel this complex tapestry of illusion, art, and reality, I need you to do something for me. If you appreciate journalism that respects the artists and the truth, please smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. And for those of you who want to dive deeper and support the independent voice of Mr. Magazine, I strongly urge you to click the join button right now. Your membership allows us to keep asking the hard questions. Are you ready? Let's separate the script from the reality. For months, stretching into what now feels like years, a singular, persistent question has hung in the atmosphere of the Turkish entertainment world like a heavy fog. It is whispered in the comment sections of Instagram, debated with fervor on Twitter, and reposted endlessly in fan forums until it solidified into a myth of its own making. Did Cenk Torun and Mahassine Merabet break up? It is a question that carries the weight of a tragedy, implying a fracture, a severance of ties, a sorrowful ending to a beautiful tale. However, as dramatic and emotionally charged as that inquiry may be, it is constructed upon a foundation that, quite simply, does not exist. There has never been an official announcement of a breakup for the simple, unvarnished reason that there was never an official admission of a relationship to begin with. To truly comprehend why these rumors possess such astonishing persistence, why they refuse to fade into the ether of forgotten news, we must travel back to the genesis of this phenomenon. We are not revisiting the beginning of a verified love story, for that chapter remains unwritten in the public record, but rather, the inception of an artistic pairing that struck the global audience with the force of a lightning bolt. When Cenk and Mahassine first shared a frame, when they first stood opposite one another on a set illuminated by studio lights, it was not merely two actors reciting memorized lines from a script. It was a collision of energies, a meeting of two performers who seemed to breathe in the exact same rhythm, moving through the emotional landscape of a scene as if guided by a singular, invisible pulse. The audience, initially tuning in for the narrative of Esaret, found themselves held captive not by the plot twists or the dramatic arcs, but by a visceral feeling, something bright yet incredibly delicate, a connection that appeared too organic, too raw to be the product of mere rehearsal. This is where the line between fiction and reality began to blur, not because of deception, but because of the sheer excellence of their craft. Part of this enduring fascination stems from the distinct, magnetic auras they project individually. Consider Cenk Torun. He brings to the screen a quiet storm, a presence defined by understated emotional depth and a stoic masculinity that does not require volume to command attention. He acts with a stillness that is louder than a scream. Every movement is deliberate, every glance is laden with a history of unspoken words. He is the anchor, the solid ground. Then, contrast him with Mahassine Merabet. She moves through the screen with an elegance that feels entirely unique to her spirit, graceful, intuitive, and possessing the rare ability to shift between complex emotional tones with astonishing ease. Viewers do not simply watch her, they trust her vulnerability. When fate, or perhaps the foresight of a casting director, placed these two distinct energies side by side in a project that unexpectedly captured international attention, something far greater than commercial success occurred. It created an atmosphere, a mood, a world. Let's pause here for a moment of reflection. The chemistry we saw in Esaret was undeniably powerful. It's rare to see two actors click like that. But I want to ask you, the Mr. Magazine community, do you think it's fair for us to assume that great on-screen chemistry must equal off-screen romance? Or do we underestimate how good these actors actually are at their jobs? I am really curious to read your thoughts on this chemistry versus reality debate in the comments below. And hey, if you are enjoying this deep analysis, please hit the like button to help this video reach more fans. Their partnership became a topic of fervent conversation, transcending local borders to dominate online spaces across continents, from Latin America to the Middle East. The audience became convinced, perhaps because they wanted to be convinced, that what they were witnessing on screen had deep, tangled roots in real life. When they collaborated again, the expectations were already towering, reaching the stratosphere. Fans were no longer simply watching characters navigate a script. They were acting as forensic investigators, searching for the truth hidden in micro-expressions, in pregnant pauses, in the fleeting gestures of a hand brushing an arm. Every small interaction was catalogued and filed into a digital evidence folder. A shared laugh during a promotional talk show became a trending moment, analyzed for hours. A coincidental pause while one of them completed the other's sentence was clipped, slowed down to half speed, and replayed thousands of times on TikTok. Social media built a narrative with the same meticulous precision a detective uses to solve a complex mystery, except the proof was constructed almost entirely of interpretations layered upon interpretations. A caption that felt slightly poetic? Proof of love. A behind-the-scenes photo framed in romantic lighting? Proof of a date. An offhand comment about trust? A chapter in a romance novel that the actors themselves never claimed to be writing. But here is the core truth that many in the fandom, in their enthusiasm, tend to overlook: the entertainment world is an empire built on illusion. That is its purpose. Great chemistry on set is not necessarily a symptom of love, it is the result of immense skill, rigorous discipline, mutual trust, and the professional vulnerability required to build believable scenes. Two actors can create a connection so authentic that it leaves the audience breathless and weeping, all while maintaining lives that never cross outside the strict boundaries of professionalism. Cenk and Mahassine have always been meticulously mindful of that boundary. Their respect for their craft, and significantly, their respect for one another, became a shield, a protective barrier that guarded whatever was personal and private. They kept the focus strictly on the work, refusing to let their personal lives overshadow the art they were creating. For them, privacy is not a performance tactic, it is a fundamental principle. Neither has been known to use personal details as leverage for publicity. They rarely share more than what is absolutely necessary and never attempt to commodify their private lives for marketing gain. In an age of oversharing, where every influencer broadcasts their breakfast and their breakups, this silence became magnetic. It created a vacuum that fans felt compelled to fill. Some interpreted this discretion as the protection of a forbidden or hidden romance, others interpreted it as proof that there was nothing romantic to hide. Yet, paradoxically, both interpretations stem from the exact same source. A deep-seated fascination with a connection that felt too vivid to be left in the realm of fiction. This brings up a very important point about privacy. In a world where we know everything about everyone, Cenk and Mahassine chose silence. Do you respect that? Do you think more celebrities should follow their example and keep their private lives actually private? Or do you feel that fans have a right to know? This is a hot topic, and I want to hear your perspective. Also, a quick reminder. If you want to support independent, unbiased celebrity news, clicking that join button is the best way to help Mr. Magazine grow. Meanwhile, as the rumors swirled, life did what it always does, it moved forward. Their careers branched out in different, necessary directions, shaped by choices that reflect their individual growth as artists. Cenk continued exploring roles that stretched his emotional range, seeking out characters with shadows, contradictions, and unresolved pains. Roles that required the gravitas he possesses. Mahassine, on the other hand, balanced her on-screen roles with a sense of purpose that comes from a clear understanding of what she stands for. She chose characters that challenged assumptions, reminding the audience that she is not defined by a single performance, a single co-star, or the speculation surrounding her personal relationships. The lack of public displays, the growing distance between their projects, the absence of labels. Together, these factors created the optical illusion of a breakup. People assumed something had ended, when in reality, nothing had ever been confirmed to begin. Their connection, whether it was rooted solely in profound artistic respect or in something deeper that neither wished to expose to the harsh light of public scrutiny, had simply evolved with time, the way all human connections do. Seasons change, new roles appear, new people enter each of their lives, and the flow of existence continues. Of course, the media played its predictable and somewhat cynical part in this narrative. Headlines are crafted to provoke curiosity, not to clarify truth. Articles with sensational titles like "Are they more than co-stars?" or "Is there something they're not saying?" fed the insatiable hunger for answers while offering absolutely none. A mystery without closure is irresistible to the human mind. The absence of a definitive answer becomes the answer itself. A locked door demands attention simply because it is locked. What remains undeniable, and what no rumor or speculation can erase, is the immense respect they show each other whenever they speak publicly. Their words carry admiration, an acknowledgement of deep trust, and the recognition that what they created together was rare and special. They describe their shared scenes with warmth, not exaggeration, with gratitude, not sensationalism. And that tone tells a story of its own, one rooted in professionalism, shared experience, and mutual understanding. But the audience is not a passive observer in this dynamic. When two people create a world that makes your heart skip a beat, it is natural to want that feeling to live beyond the frame of the television screen. Fans projected their hopes, their desires, and their dreams onto Cenk and Mahassine, weaving a fantasy from moments that were meant to stay on the set. That dream is the real source of the breakup rumors. It wasn't that something ended between Cenk and Mahassine, it's that the viewers were not ready to let the magic end. So, what is the ultimate truth behind the so-called separation? It is simply this: there was nothing to separate. No romance was ever confirmed, no breakup was ever announced. What existed, and what still exists in the archives of television history, is the legacy of a partnership that touched audiences deeply, a shared body of work that people return to again and again because something in it felt alive. Their personal paths have moved forward independently, as all lives do, and there is a quiet dignity in accepting that without demanding more. This conversation persists not because a scandal is being hidden, but because the emotional imprint they left has refused to fade. Their story, whatever shape it truly has, belongs to them. The experience they created belongs to you, the audience. And both truths can exist without conflict. It is a lesson in letting go of the narrative we want, in order to appreciate the art that we were given. Cenk Torun and Mahassine Merabet gave us a masterpiece of chemistry, perhaps that should be enough. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into one of the most misunderstood topics in our industry. I hope this clarifies this phantom breakup for all of you. Please, let me know your final thoughts in the comments. Will you keep shipping them, or is it time to support their individual journeys? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Mr. Magazine, and if you haven't yet, click that join button to become a part of our family. Until the next story, stay curious and stay kind. Goodbye.